The silent contract of life is this: no one is coming to save you. We spend too much time glancing over our shoulder, waiting for a rescue that will never arrive, hoping for permission that is already ours. The pivot point in your existence is the day you decide to reallocate your most precious resource, all of your energy, to the one place it belongs: you. Your ambition, your deepest desires, the future you yearn for, all of it hinges on your relentless self-focus. Not with excuses, not with distractions, and certainly not with waiting. You must fortify your spirit until no setback can dismantle you and no dismissal can halt your momentum. Success is not a lottery. It is a reward reserved for those who master their own universe, not for those who delegate responsibility or wait for the tide to turn. Victory belongs to the dedicated few who commit to their growth, their singular vision, and their distinct path. Focus on yourself until the result is undeniable, because if you do not champion your own cause, the world will certainly not. This is the day you must stop searching outside and begin constructing the life you deserve from the bedrock of your own being. Stay present, because this single internal shift is the most profound move you will ever make. Your first non-negotiable duty is to cultivate your strongest self daily. This is not a hobby. It is a full-time commitment, and you cannot afford to budget time off when the subject is your own evolution. Time is a current that only flows one way, and every moment you fail to invest in yourself is compounded against your future self. You are always building something. Either the life you desire or the life you are actively trying to escape. The most invaluable asset you can grant yourself is a daily promise, a commitment to superior strength, to greater wisdom, and to unshakable discipline. It begins with a single declaration: I will not let another day pass unused. I will apply more concentrated effort to my own development than to anything else. Your strongest self is not an accident. You are the sole architect, the one responsible for making this transformation happen. The true building happens not when life is smooth, but when you are exhausted, when you are uncertain, when there is no applause, and when the results are invisible to everyone else. That is the foundational work. True strength is forged in solitude. Intentions are worthless. Only action counts. You must show up for yourself every single day, without blame, without excuses, and without waiting for a surge of feeling. Consistency is the true, unglamorous secret. Guard your focus as if your future depended on it, because it absolutely does. Focus is your superpower in an ecosystem designed for perpetual distraction. You must be the sentinel at the gate of your own mind, dictating what is allowed to claim your attention. Your focus is sacred. Your focus is the material of your life. When you fully commit to building your strongest self daily, you abandon the chase for external approval. You shed the need for external permission. You must internalize the understanding that no one is accountable for your strength. No one is coming to build you up. That is your primary role. You must train your mind to disregard all external noise. Every day is saturated with noise. Without constant vigilance, you can easily spend your entire life conforming to the expectations of others. You must safeguard your mind as you would your most precious, irreplaceable asset. The world will always have a commentary. People will always have an opinion, but opinions are not the substance of your life. The moment you begin entertaining every outside perspective, your internal power drains. Training your mind to ignore the noise is the construction of inner resilience. If it does not push you closer to your vision, it is noise. You must become a ruthless curator of your focus. You cannot allow yourself to be pulled into futile arguments. You cannot live your life attempting to satisfy standards that you never authored. Learn to discern your internal voice above the general clamor. Strength emerges from the realization that you do not require validation to proceed. You do not require permission to follow your calling. Your sole concern is whether you allow external noise residence in your mind. Your responsibility is to keep your inner world clean, keep it potent, keep it focused. Training your mind is an act of recognizing the noise for what it is, and then actively choosing not to fund it with your energy. You establish a psychology that is impossible to shake. Make a decision today. Your dreams are too precious to be sacrificed for fleeting noise. You must be the greater force. You must recall the profound stakes. Greatness is the product of those brave enough to walk their own path. The realization is inevitable. If you do not champion your own dreams, no one else is going to do it for you. They cannot grasp the distinct vision that was conferred only upon you. Whenever you commit to chasing an outcome larger than your current comfort zone, you must anticipate skepticism. External belief is not a requirement. Internal belief is your sacred duty. Fighting for your dreams is a solitary enterprise. You will endure days where the effort yields no visible return, and the only fuel you have is your own conviction. Most people choose to reside within small dreams because small dreams do not provoke any fear. When you choose to erect something truly non-ordinary, you must expect resistance. You must remind yourself every single day that your dream was given to you for an inherent reason. It is sacred, and it is worth defending with every available ounce of your being. The fight for your dreams is not merely external combat. It is an internal war. Doubt is a relentless whisper, suggesting perhaps that the critics hold the correct perspective. Fear attempts to lure you into settling for the path of least resistance, advocating for ease over elevation. Comfort will beg for your return to the familiar confines of yesterday's routine, but you must push forward with deliberate intensity. You are required to possess a strength superior to your fleeting emotions on the most challenging days. You must actively lead yourself, particularly when it feels as though no external witness is even observing your struggle. True fighters are not propelled by the sound of applause. They are motivated by the unbreakable clarity of their purpose. They do not wait for a crowd to offer encouragement. They are too immersed in the solitary labor of laying the foundational bricks of their future, one difficult day at a time. Their focus on the final vision is so complete that the need for immediate approval simply dissolves. They understand that respect is a consequence that arrives after the results are delivered, never before. They embrace the loneliness of the walk today, recognizing it as the necessary tuition for standing tall in the future. When you dedicate yourself to fighting for your dreams, you forge a deep personal toughness that can never be simulated. You earn a resilience that money cannot purchase. You build an inner spirit capable of handling immense pressure. Every instance of rejection sharpens your edge. Every time you hear the word no, you are compelled to dig deeper into your own reserves. Every failure is a harsh, effective lesson in fighting with greater intelligence. There is no wasted effort in a battle waged for something authentic. Every scar you accumulate tells a story of an individual who fundamentally refused to back down. You must achieve absolute clarity on one foundational truth. Your dream matters profoundly. It matters because it is the pressure cooker that transforms you into the person you were always destined to be. It matters because it demands that you become disciplined, intensely focused, and relentlessly persistent. It matters because it summons forth the greatest parts of your character that would otherwise remain dormant and unseen. Dreams are not merely endpoints of achievement. They are the catalysts for profound personal transformation. They are the essential training grounds for cultivating personal greatness. You will not feel perpetually strong. You will not feel continuously courageous. There will be seasons when you question every single choice you have made. That is not an obstacle. That is an inherent part of the refinement process. Courage is not the absence of fear in the face of danger. It is the deliberate act of moving forward even when the fear is deafening. Courage is forcing yourself to rise again, even when staying on the ground appears to be the most reasonable option. Courage is the choice to renew your belief every single morning, even if the previous day concluded in bitter disappointment. There will be inevitable moments when the idea of quitting will seem logical and sensible. There will be periods when the tangible results manifest much slower than your hope demands. There will be entire seasons where it genuinely feels like nobody is acknowledging the sheer effort you are expending. That is precisely the moment when you must remind yourself of your core mission. You are not fighting for external attention. You are fighting to secure the future you envision. You are not fighting for their fleeting applause. You are fighting to fulfill the promise you made to yourself to create an extraordinary life. No one possesses the capacity to fight this specific battle for you. They can offer encouragement. They can send their well wishes, but ultimately, the confrontation is strictly between you and your own excuses. It is a duel between you and the persistent erosion of your doubts. It is you against the constant temptation to simply settle for less. And it is you, the solitary decision maker, who must choose whether to continue swinging, even when it feels like your punches are not connecting with any impact. Winners are not defined as those who never experience discouragement. Winners are defined as those who feel the discouragement and yet continue to advance anyway. Winners are not those who always possess absolute clarity. Winners are those who take the necessary next step even when the path ahead remains completely obscure. Winners are not those who are simply handed lucky breaks. Winners are those who maintain their presence and their effort long enough to successfully seize the breaks when they finally appear. Fighting for your dreams requires the acceptance that not everyone will understand your journey or your motivation. It necessitates releasing the compulsive need to justify your actions to those who lack the courage to pursue their own latent potential. It means constructing your inner confidence from the inside out rather than borrowing temporary validation from external approval. It means fixing your focus entirely on the quality of the life you desire and establishing an absolute refusal to glance backward, regardless of who decides to exit your path. It is inevitable that it will hurt sometimes. It will feel grossly unfair sometimes. It will feel utterly exhausting sometimes. But with every day you continue to fight for your dreams, you are simultaneously winning an essential war within your own character. Every day you refuse to quit, you are building an identity capable of withstanding anything the world can throw at you. And eventually, you will stand in the precise place you once only dreamed of reaching. You will look back and recognize that every solitary night, Every silent morning, every moment of unanswered doubt was a necessary and worthy investment. The people who once questioned you will likely still be occupying the same ground, still talking, still doubting, still passively waiting for someone else to validate their potential. But you will be fundamentally different. You will possess irrefutable proof. You will have the concrete evidence that belief, when powerfully aligned with relentless, consistent action, transforms everything. Never offer an apology for the intensity of your fight for your dreams. Never feel guilty for choosing a difficult path that others are too intimidated to tread. Never dilute the potency of your ambition simply to make those around you feel more comfortable. Fight for your dream with the urgency that suggests your very life depends upon its success, because in a profoundly real way, it absolutely does. Your future existence, the quality of your future self, the depth of your future peace, all of these are reliant on the commitment and the fight you are willing to have today. The day will come when you no longer need to articulate why you believed in your vision. The day will come when the visible results of your effort will speak with a volume far greater than your words ever could. The day will come when your personal fight becomes the necessary inspiration for someone else. But to reach that monumental point, you must continue to swing the hammer now. You must continue to believe now. You must continue to move forward now. Do not wait for belief to be granted by others. Become your own primary believer. Become your own most effective fighter. Become your own undeniable proof. And when fatigue sets in, remind yourself of this truth. The reward is not given to the strongest or the swiftest contender. It is awarded to the one who ultimately refuses to quit the arena. Fight for your dreams when the struggle is acute. Fight when the journey is isolating. Fight when it feels like no one can see your effort. Fight because it is a debt you owe to your highest self. Fight because you were architected for a life of greater scale. Fight because one day the world will look upon your success and declare, "I finally see it now." But by then, you will not require their validation, because you will already be inhabiting the dream you constructed with the strength of your own hands. If you harbor a serious desire for any genuine transformation in your life, you are required to show up for yourself every single day without fail, not occasionally. Not merely when it aligns with your convenience, and certainly not only when you are in a state of high excitement. The demand is every single day. The life you are actively pursuing is not constructed from transient moments of motivation or inspiration. It is meticulously built upon the bedrock of daily, unyielding commitment. It is constructed during those quiet times when you choose to execute the required work, even when there are no witnesses present and no one is offering applause. The vast majority of people fail to achieve their dreams, not due to a lack of inherent potential, but due to chronic inconsistency. They appear on Monday morning full of energy, but vanish completely by Friday afternoon. They exert themselves strenuously for a week only to mentally disappear for the entire following month. They are committed only when the path is easy, and they immediately flee when the environment becomes challenging. You cannot sustain such a pattern if your objective is to achieve victory. You must cultivate the identity of a person who consistently shows up regardless of how they emotionally feel. You must become completely trustworthy to yourself. If you declare that you are going to perform an action, you must follow through and execute it. If you establish a goal, you must pursue it relentlessly every day without waiting for external reminders or prompts. The universe consistently rewards individuals who possess consistency. Life systematically opens doors for those who remain firmly engaged in the persistent struggle. Success is magnetically drawn to those who maintain forward momentum even during the slow, the tedious, the difficult, and the seemingly unproductive days. When you show up for yourself with daily rigor, you begin to construct a profound level of self-respect that is utterly immune to external theft. You eliminate the need for external praise to sustain your efforts. You stop waiting for irrefutable signs that your work is effective. You cease relying on the outside world to validate your worth. You possess an intimate, undeniable knowledge of your own adequacy because you demonstrate and prove it to yourself every single day through your direct actions. Showing up does not imply a demand for perfection. It does not mean executing every task flawlessly. It means being reliably present for yourself when the moments of truth arrive. It means pushing yourself to secure marginal progress, even when that progress feels agonizingly slow. It means internalizing the understanding that one small step taken forward is infinitely superior to remaining stagnant for another day while passively awaiting motivation to miraculously arrive and rescue you. The absolute truth is that there will be numerous days when the desire to do anything productive is zero. Days when your own bed feels insurmountable. Days when the voices of your internal excuses are louder than ever before. Days when the finish line feels so impossibly distant that you question whether the entire effort holds any value. These are the days that hold the most weight. These are the days that serve as the critical filter, separating those who merely dream from those who actively perform. These are the days where you conclusively prove to yourself that the sanctity of your future outweighs the convenience of your present feelings. You must discipline yourself to become reliable, not only to your commitments to others, but more importantly, to yourself. You must become the kind of person who can look within and reliably count on yourself to appear and execute the required labor. Because if you cannot sustain trust in your own word, every other commitment you make will eventually collapse. You will break your own promises. You will establish ambitious goals that you never pursue. You will gradually lose faith in your own inherent potential. Every single time you successfully show up for yourself, you deposit a substantial amount of internal trust. Every time you successfully follow through on a minor commitment, you strengthen the foundation of your self-belief. Over a sustainable period, that foundation becomes utterly unshakable. Over time, you eliminate the constant need for brute willpower to force yourself to show up, because showing up transcends a mere task and becomes an integral part of your very identity. It becomes automatic. You cannot expect tangible results without demanding radical consistency. You cannot anticipate profound growth without applying intentional discipline. You cannot expect transformative change without consistent, deliberate effort. Dreams require far more than simple desire. They demand rigorous, sustained action, not just once, not just twice, but every single day, in large, visible gestures and in small, invisible moments. Every piece of effort counts. Every single piece of effort matters. The individuals who ultimately succeed are not those who navigated the easiest path. They are not those who were the beneficiaries of random, exceptional luck. They are the ones who remained consistently present and working long after everyone else had succumbed to fatigue or distraction. They are the ones who persistently practiced their core craft when absolutely no one was paying them any attention. They are the ones who maintained their commitment to the process, even throughout those extended periods when the visible results remained infuriatingly slow to manifest. Every morning when you awaken represents a renewed opportunity to show up with greater strength. Every morning you awaken, you possess a fresh chance to make yourself proud of your commitment. Every morning you awaken, you are actively writing the ongoing story of your life through the totality of your actions. Will today represent another carelessly wasted page, or will it be a page that you can later examine with profound satisfaction? You have a moral obligation to yourself to show up. You owe it to the future reality you have been ceaselessly dreaming about. You owe it to the powerful vision that continues to exert a pull on your heart. You owe it to the younger version of yourself who once held an unwavering belief that this was possible. You owe it to the person you are actively becoming through your effort, and this commitment does not require dramatic, ostentatious gestures. It does not have to be loud or highly dramatic. Sometimes the act of showing up manifests as sitting quietly and focusedly working on your goals when the easy temptation is to waste time. Sometimes it looks like making just one slightly better choice today than the one you defaulted to yesterday. Sometimes it looks like offering your best available effort even when your energy reserves are critically low. Small steps remain steps forward. Small victories are still decisive wins. Progress is always progress, regardless of how slow its pace feels. The only definitive way to lose is if you choose to stop showing up entirely. The only way you truly fail is if you consciously decide that the objective is no longer worthy of your fight. Some days you will feel full of energy. Some days you will be totally exhausted. Some days you will feel deeply inspired. Some days you will feel completely numb. These external emotional states are irrelevant. What remains essential is that you maintain your persistent presence, that you continue to place one metaphorical stone on top of the next, that you continue stacking these focused days together, because the sum of what you do daily is the only true builder of your future. It is uncomplicated to show up when the work is inherently fun. It is effortless to show up when the results are immediate and visible. It is simple to show up when people are actively cheering for your success. But genuine winners are those who show up when no one is watching the process. Genuine winners show up when the results are still invisible to the naked eye. Genuine winners show up even when it feels as though the entire world has forgotten their name. If you can master this fundamental art of showing up daily, you possess the power to construct absolutely anything. You can fundamentally transform your health. You can meticulously build substantial wealth. You can author a life story that you are profoundly proud to inhabit. But the genesis and conclusion of this transformation is rooted entirely in your personal willingness to show up for yourself. No one else can undertake this specific component of the work on your behalf. No one else can physically clock the required hours. No one else can internally endure the grind. The responsibility must be yours. You have to be willing to look directly into the mirror and state truthfully, I did not quit today. I did not permit my feelings to dictate my actions today. I chose the priority of my future self over the immediate comfort of my present moment. There is no hidden secret formula. There is no miraculous shortcut waiting to be discovered. There is only the rigorous day-to-day grind of performing the necessary actions, even when the path of least resistance is aggressively inviting. And every single time you choose the required effort, every single time you show up regardless, you successfully build a fraction more strength, a little more resilience, and a deeper reserve of core belief. One day, you will survey your surroundings and realize that everything you once only dreamed of possessing is now your concrete reality. And this achievement will not be the result of a lucky coincidence. It will not be because someone extended a helping hand. It will be solely because you showed up for yourself every solitary day when no one else could perceive the vision but you alone. You are actively composing the narrative of your future self with every deliberate choice you execute. Ensure that this narrative is a masterpiece. Ensure that it is something you can look back on with undeniable pride. Ensure that it is a life that perfectly reflects the depth of strength it required to maintain your presence even when the option of quitting was the easiest way out. Show up for yourself. Not once, not occasionally, but consistently, every single day. The contemporary world is experiencing no shortage of opportunity. Its deficit lies entirely in its scarcity of focus. It is remarkably easy to initiate a new endeavor. It is substantially more challenging to persist with that endeavor for the required duration to bring it to a successful completion. Every day, a myriad of forces is actively pulling at the fibers of your mind, your time, and your limited energy reserves. If you fail to commit to a serious, systematic elimination of these distractions, they will function as a persistent acid, slowly eroding and consuming your future potential. Focus is not a latent commodity that you passively discover. Focus is a powerful structure that you must actively construct. You build it by meticulously protecting its boundaries. You construct it by aggressively cutting out anything and everything that contributes to its weakening. You possess defined dreams that require achievement. You have established goals that demand reaching. You have a full life that requires deliberate construction. You cannot, under any circumstances, afford to lose precious hours to activities that fundamentally do not matter to your core mission. You cannot permit your attention to be consistently stolen by every trivial notification, every passing opinion that crosses your field of awareness, and every soft temptation to escape into an easier activity rather than executing the genuine, demanding work. Every single distraction, regardless of its size, carries a quantifiable cost, and that cumulative cost is nothing less than your future self. If you are not in the absolute control of your own attention, then it is guaranteed that someone else is. If you fail to make the conscious decision of where your energy is directed, the world will invariably make that decision for you. And the external world harbors no care for your specific dreams. It possesses no concern for your personal goals. Its sole interest lies in seizing your time and offering you absolutely nothing of commensurate value in return. You must be much more strategic than that. You must learn to perceive distractions for their true nature. They are thieves. They systematically steal your time, your energy, your razor-sharp focus, and ultimately your future life. The act of cutting out distractions is not merely an aspiration for superior productivity. It is a declaration of living with greater intentionality. It is the necessary act of reclaiming full ownership of your life narrative. It is the absolute refusal to exist as a slave to constant interruptions, to pointless gossip, to the time sink of mindless scrolling, or to entertainment that fails to contribute any measurable value to your personal growth. It is the moment you stand up and loudly declare, "My life is far too consequential to be wasted in triviality." The critical first phase in the elimination of distractions is engaging in brutal, surgical honesty with yourself. What is the precise activity that is stealthily stealing your focus on a daily basis? Where are the hours bleeding away without your conscious realization? Which specific habits are draining your valuable energy without offering any constructive return in exchange? You lack the power to fix a problem that you actively refuse to confront. You are required to face the absolute truth regarding the manner in which you are currently allocating your finite time. The second step is to create an environment that supports your goals. Your environment should push you toward focus, not away from it. Clean up your space. Remove the clutter. Turn off the noise. Block the temptations. Make it easier to do the right thing and harder to do the wrong thing. You cannot expect to stay focused in an environment built for distraction. You must also protect your mental space. Not every conversation deserves your time. Not every argument is worth engaging in. Not every negative opinion needs a response. You have to guard your peace like your future depends on it, because it does. Every time you get pulled into something that does not serve you, you are losing momentum if you are giving away pieces of yourself that should be reserved for your real mission. It is not enough to say you want to focus. You have to create a system that makes it possible. Set clear work times. Turn off notifications. Limit your exposure to things that pull your mind away from what matters. Make a real commitment to yourself. If you cannot do it all day, start with an hour. Start with one focused session a day and build from there. Momentum is built one decision at a time. Every distraction you remove is a gift to your future self. Every temptation you resist is an investment in your future strength. Every time you choose focus over ease, you are sharpening your mind, strengthening your discipline, and moving one step closer to the life you were born to live. It all matters. It all adds up. Distractions are not just outside of you, they are inside too. Self-doubt is a distraction. Overthinking is a distraction. Worrying about what others think is a distraction. Fear of failure is a distraction. You must learn to quiet the inner noise just as much as the outer. You must learn to refocus your mind when it starts wandering toward fear and doubt. You must be able to say to yourself, "This is not helping me," and bring your focus back to your work. Building a life worth living requires more than talent. It requires endurance. It requires the ability to stay with a thing long after the excitement fades. It requires the ability to keep putting in the work when nobody is watching and no immediate rewards are coming. That kind of endurance can only exist if you are ruthless about eliminating distraction. You will have to make sacrifices. You will have to say no to things that others say yes to. You will have to miss out on some conversations, some parties, some trends. You will have to endure the feeling of missing out. But in the end, you will realize you did not miss anything important. You will realize that the only thing worth chasing was your own potential. The truth is, the real battle is not out there. It is in here. It is inside your own mind. Can you keep your eyes on your vision when the world tries to pull you away? Can you stay true to your work when entertainment is one click away? Can you keep moving forward when distractions are disguised as opportunities? That is the test. That is what separates the ones who wish from the ones who achieve. Every time you choose focus, you are choosing your future over your feelings. Every time you say no to a distraction, you are saying yes to your dream. Every time you close a door to something meaningless, you open a door to something powerful. It is not about being perfect. It is about being intentional. It is about being clear on what you are building and fierce about protecting the path that gets you there. Nobody is coming to organize your time for you. Nobody is going to clear your schedule. Nobody is going to make you turn off the noise. That is your responsibility. That is your power. That is your opportunity to take control of your mind, to take control of your focus, to take control of your future. The day you decide to cut out every distraction that weakens your focus is the day everything starts to change. You start seeing progress faster. You start feeling more confident. You start waking up with more energy. You start living with more purpose, because now you are not wasting your strength fighting battles that do not matter. There is no secret to high achievement. There is only clear focus applied daily. There is only consistent action fueled by disciplined energy. There is only the relentless removal of anything that tries to pull you off course. That is how dreams are built. That is how lives are transformed. You do not have to be smarter than everyone else. You do not have to be luckier. You do not have to be more talented, but you must be more focused. You must be more disciplined. You must be more determined to protect your time, your energy, your mind. This is your season to be sharper. This is your time to be stricter about what you allow into your life. This is your moment to decide that nothing and no one will pull you away from the future you are building. Cut it out. If it weakens your focus, cut it out. If it steals your time, cut it out. If it drains your energy, cut it out. If it dims your light, cut it out. Your dream deserves your full strength. Your future deserves your full attention. Stay locked in. Stay committed. Stay focused. Because the life you want is on the other side of the distractions you are willing to eliminate today. Own your life without blaming anyone for anything. There comes a moment when you have to make a serious decision about your life. You have to decide whether you are going to keep pointing the finger or whether you are going to take full responsibility for everything you want to change until you own your life without blaming anyone for anything. You stay stuck. You stay powerless. You stay behind. The day you own it all is the day you start taking real control over your future. Blame is easy. It feels good for a moment. It makes you believe that your failures are not your fault. It gives you an excuse to stay where you are, but the cost of blame is far too high. When you blame others, you hand them control over your life. When you point fingers, you give away your ability to fix it. As long as it is someone else's fault, you have no power to change it. Owning your life is about taking full responsibility for your decisions, your habits, your mindset, and your outcomes. It is not about blaming yourself harshly. It is about recognizing that you have the power to make new choices starting today. You are not stuck. You are not helpless. You are not broken beyond repair. You are simply standing at a crossroads where ownership will take you forward and blame will hold you back. When you stop blaming, you start building. When you stop making excuses, you start creating solutions. When you stop seeing yourself as a victim, you start acting like a leader. That shift changes everything. Suddenly, the obstacles are not final anymore. The mistakes are not the end anymore. They are lessons. They are tools. They are building blocks for the future you are determined to create. It does not matter how unfair your starting point was. It does not matter what setbacks you faced. It does not matter what someone else did or did not do. What matters now is what you decide to do with it. You cannot rewrite the past, but you can shape the future. You can turn every disadvantage into strength. You can use every failure as training. You can let every setback fuel your drive instead of becoming your excuse. The strongest people you will ever meet are the ones who stopped blaming a long time ago. They do not waste time complaining about how hard it is. They do not sit around wishing things were different. They get up every day and work with what they have. They build. They move forward. They focus on solutions. They take ownership over every part of their journey. Taking ownership means facing uncomfortable truths. It means admitting when you have been lazy. It means recognizing when you have let fear make your decisions. It means seeing clearly where you have fallen short. Not to beat yourself up, but to get better. Real change starts with real honesty. Not the kind you tell others, the kind you tell yourself when no one else is around. Every time you take responsibility for your life, you take back your power. You stop waiting for someone else to save you. You stop waiting for perfect conditions. You stop wasting time hoping someone else will make it easier. You step into the driver's seat. You start steering your life in the direction you want to go. And that is when things start to shift. Nobody owes you your dream. Nobody is responsible for handing you success. It is your job to show up for yourself every day. It is your job to work through the hard days. It is your job to stay focused when life gets messy. It is your job to keep moving when nobody else is clapping. Your life is your responsibility from start to finish. It might not be your fault that you were knocked down, but it is your responsibility to get back up. It might not be your fault that life was unfair, but it is your responsibility to rise above it. It might not be your fault that someone hurt you, but it is your responsibility to heal and move forward. Responsibility is not about fault. It is about ownership. It is about deciding that no matter what happened, you are still in control of what happens next. You have to let go of the idea that someone else is holding you back. Nobody has that kind of power over you unless you give it to them. Circumstances are real. Challenges are real. But so is your ability to rise. So is your ability to adapt. So is your ability to create a new path forward when the old one is blocked. The people who live powerful lives are not the ones who had the easiest path. They are the ones who refuse to let anything outside of them decide their future. They are the ones who own their strengths, own their weaknesses, own their choices, and kept building anyway. They are the ones who realize that blaming never built anything worth having. It is easy to find reasons why you are not where you want to be. It is easy to point to other people, to the economy, to your past. But every minute spent blaming is a minute you could have spent building. Every moment spent making excuses is a moment you could have used to make progress. The cost is too high. The trade-off is too painful. You cannot afford to waste your life blaming anyone for anything. Ownership is freedom. When you own your life, you realize that every step forward is in your hands. Every improvement is within your reach. Every level of growth is something you can chase. You stop waiting for things to get easier. You stop hoping someone else will make it better. You step into your own strength and start shaping your own destiny. It is not about being perfect. It is about being responsible. It is about showing up for yourself even when you feel like hiding. It is about putting one foot in front of the other even when you are carrying the weight of past mistakes. It is about believing that your best days are not behind you, but ahead of you. If you are willing to own the path forward, you owe it to yourself to take full ownership of your journey. You owe it to the future version of yourself that is counting on you not to quit. You owe it to the dreams that were placed inside you for a reason. You owe it to every part of you that still believes in something greater. Own your decisions, own your habits, own your mindset, own your outcomes, good or bad, easy or hard, expected or unexpected. Own it all. Because the moment you own it all is the moment you gain the power to change it all. It is about what you decide to do about it. It is about how you choose to respond. It is about the standards you set for yourself. It is about the effort you bring even when nobody else is looking. There is no stronger foundation you can build than one made of full responsibility. No shortcuts, no excuses, no blame, just ownership, just courage, just relentless forward motion. And if you stay committed to owning your life without blaming anyone for anything, you will build a life so strong that no setback can destroy it. You will build a future so powerful that no outside force can tear it down. This is your life. Own it, live it, build it without blaming anyone else for where you are, because the power has always been yours. Push yourself harder when you feel like quitting. There will always come a time when the idea of quitting seems easier than continuing. Those are the days that define you. Those are the moments when your future is decided, because everyone feels like quitting, but not everyone chooses to push harder when it happens. Success belongs to those who keep moving when every part of them wants to stop. You cannot allow temporary feelings to decide your permanent future. Your future is not built on how you feel. It is built on how you act when it is hard to act. Pushing harder means accepting that pain is part of the process and choosing to press forward anyway. It means understanding that feeling like quitting is not a signal to stop. It is a signal to dig deeper. You have to be stronger than the voice inside your head that tells you it is not worth it. You have to be loyal to your future, not your comfort. The temptation to quit is loud. But the truth is, the size of the struggle is proof of the size of the reward on the other side. The reason you feel like quitting is because you are closer than you think. You must build the habit of pushing yourself one more step beyond where you would normally stop. Those extra moments are what separate the average from the great. Every time you push harder when you feel like quitting, you build mental toughness. You build emotional resilience. You build a character that does not crumble under pressure. The people who win are simply the ones who kept showing up after they wanted to quit. Push harder. Hold the line. Keep moving. Your future self will thank you every single day for not quitting when it was hard. Trust your process. Even when results are invisible, there are seasons in life where you put in the work, but you do not see the results. Growth happens long before results are visible. Success is earned in silence, long before it shows up in public. Trusting your process means believing in the unseen. It means having the patience to stick with what you started, even when the world has not clapped yet. Most people do not lose because they lacked potential. They lose because they lacked patience. You have to trust that every action you take matters. The work is never wasted. Trust is what keeps you steady when emotions try to sway you. It takes courage to keep working in the dark. Real growth happens internally first before it ever appears on the surface. You may not see the evidence today, but if you stay with it, one day the results will be too big to hide. Progress is not always loud. Sometimes progress is silent, steady, slow. But it is progress all the same. Trusting the process means detaching from the need for instant gratification. When you abandon the process, you lose the compounding power of consistency. Stay loyal to your process. Stay loyal to your standards. The invisible seasons are where your character is built. Patience is powerful. It is the decision to keep giving your best even when the applause has not come yet. You do not have to see the results today to trust that they are on their way. Trust the work you are doing. Trust the habits you are forming. Trust the character you are shaping. Stay the course. Trust the process. Stay locked in on your vision until you win. When you start a journey towards something bigger, the world will test you. Your vision has to be stronger than your emotions. You must lock into your vision so tightly that nothing can pull you away from it. Your vision is the picture of the life you are building. Your vision must be the guiding force behind every decision you make. Most people fail because they lost sight of their dreams when things got tough. If you are serious about winning, you must refuse to let anything outside of you dilute the vision inside of you. You must see it so clearly that it becomes more real than your current reality. When motivation fades, when the road gets long, it is your loyalty to the vision that keeps you moving. Every decision you make either brings you closer to your vision or pulls you further away. Staying locked in requires discipline. You must be able to stand strong when nobody else claps for you. When it gets hard, do not lower your standards. When it gets lonely, do not question your path. When it gets slow, do not doubt your ability. Stay locked in. Stay committed. Stay focused on the life you said you wanted. The ones who win are the ones who refuse to be distracted by problems. You must become unshakable. You must become immovable. You must become so locked into your vision that no rejection, no failure, no delay can cause you to quit. Stay locked in on your vision until you win, not until you feel tired, until you win. Rise again. Every time you fall or feel lost, life will knock you down. In those moments, your true strength is revealed, not by how perfectly you avoid falling, but by how many times you are willing to rise again. Falling is not failure. Staying down is. Every champion had to learn how to rise again. When you fall, the easy path will always be to give up. The stronger path will always be to rise. Every time you rise again, you are making a decision about whether you will be defined by defeat or by resilience. The shame is in refusing to fight back. The shame is in believing that one fall means you are not worthy. You must get used to getting up when it would be easier to stay down. Sometimes you build clarity and strength by simply refusing to quit. Rising again means facing the pain, learning from it, and refusing to be destroyed by it. You are not supposed to be perfect. You are supposed to be resilient. You are supposed to be someone who does not back down from the hard parts of life. When you rise after a fall, you send a message to the world. You say, I am not done. I am still building. You are not defined by your falls. You are defined by your rise. You will rise from every fall if you choose to. Rise again. Rise tired. Rise scared. Rise uncertain. Rise bruised. Rise confused. But rise, because every rise is a victory.